it's as busy as it usually is, or busier, or any sense of sort of the traffic and what's happening? What do you think?
There's a lot of cars on the road. Friday, I drove to Tampa, which is about an hour drive for me. And I couldn't believe all three lanes going in both directions. I left the house a little after 6 a.m. So I could see just long lines of lights.
Interesting. And Bob, you're back home now. You're enjoying the snow and the cold weather.
We don't have any snow where I am, and actually, it's cool now. It's 37 degrees, but we are going to get into the 50s, and for me, that's a great big improvement over what it was. I got greeted coming home with a snowstorm, and I got greeted when I stayed the night over at my daughter's house before we got home with another snowstorm. So, but we don't have any where I live.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But it's still colder here than it is in New York.
Yeah, where's Kathleen? I wonder what the weather is. I always thought of New York in the winter as being cold.
Yeah, she just posted. It's 52 degrees there, no snow, but she says 49 days until spring.
But who's counting?
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, we had rain here last night. More rain's coming today. This is in Arcadia, California. Oh, by the way, I heard you guys talking about the space program. I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts, but there's one on NPR called Blood, Sweat, and Rockets, which details the history of the founding of JPL and through Caltech and what have you. It's really interesting. It was founded by 4 guys, actually, who are all quite the characters, and gives you a history of United States rocketry. So if you listen to a podcast, NPR One or your local stations may have it on public radio. So I'd let you know.
Thanks, Jim. Greg.
Hey, Bob, can you talk a little bit about your trip, how it was?
Very, very rocky, very stormy. We had more people aboard sick than we had well. Quite often the dining rooms were a lot emptier than they should have been.
Were you able to stop on each of the islands and get off and tour?
No, we missed one of the islands entirely. We had apparently someone got sick aboard ship and they were not able to remove them because of the weather by helicopter. We had to turn back around and go back to California to offload that passenger. And that resulted in us missing one of the islands. You know, we signed up for a trip to Hawaii, but because maritime law requires that they stop in a foreign port because they're not registered in the US, we missed one of the islands of the trip that we paid for. So yes, it was nice, and it was nice to be at sea, and it was nice to go to Hawaii, but I'm a little disappointed in this particular trip.
Will they give you a refund or anything like that?
They gave us $100 credit.
Huh.
The only thing I can say is that the crew aboard the ship was just fabulous, and not just the ones who are supposed to be taking care of you. Every single crew member always had a smile on their face. They always greeted you. And I've never had so many people actually call me by my name as I did on that cruise. So they've got that part of it down very well.
So you got your money's worth, Mr. Bob.
No, I don't think so, but I'm still happy I went on the cruise.
Morning, all.
Morning, Drew. I was wondering if anyone is, we're just sitting having a chat here before the show starts at top of the hour. If you're new here, you want to say hello or we like to really sort of welcome any new people here. Just put your hand up and that pops you up on the top of our screen, and you can have the mic. We're just sitting having a bit of a chat. And as I said, the meeting will start at at the top of the hour. If you do have any questions about anything, the techie questions or anything that's happened to you, if you want to ask them now, it's a good time. We're happy to take questions and help you with them. Or we have, of course, a Q&A after the show. So anyway, if you are new here, welcome. Jim, go ahead.
Quiet.
I have a question for those of you doing the home automation. I got one of those Wise cameras they were offering for $20, and I haven't hooked it up yet. But so much of this equipment requires you either use a USB cord or a charger, even for outdoor use. And I was wondering what kind of solutions you've come up with to plug something like that in to work outdoors. Are there enclosures that you can put the charger in, or what are you doing that way?
Wise has a solar adapter that you can plug into it.
And those that plug into electricity where they hook together, that's weatherproof. Now,
Yeah.
if they're the ones you have to charge, I've always just taken them off and charged them inside, but I don't have anything anymore that actually requires charging. It's all plug in.
Well, what do you think about using something like, remember we did that program on battery packs? What about using one of those things to power it and then use it to recharge and what have you as its own battery supply? What do you think?
Jim, is this camera, is it an outside camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
It is made
inside or outside.
Okay.
Does
Good.
it
All right.
plug in, or is it a unit that needs to be charged?
No, it's a plug-in.
Okay, then
Comes
why
with a
would you be
charger.
using a battery pack?
Well, I don't have a place to plug it in outdoors, so that's why.
Well, you have to have a place to plug it in, otherwise you can't use that camera. It requires that you plug it in.
But it's through a USB cable, so you couldn't use
No, you still, yeah, you have a USB cable that plugs into the part that plugs into the juice, but you have to plug it into an outlet.
Okay. So have any of you run into a protected box that I could, connect to AC and then run the charger, the outlet to that, or the
Extension
USB?
cord.
Huh?
Extension cord.
Well, yeah, if they had a place to put it. That's the problem. I'm trying to get away from hiring an electrician.
Do a Google search for PPOE adapter.
PPOE.
Yeah, the transformer stays in the house and it sends the electricity down the Ethernet cable. And then it switches to your USB connector if you need.
Okay.
That still requires hard wiring though.
I think, Jim, I think it's cheaper to buy another camera that can be used with batteries. I don't think this isn't going to be cost efficient no matter how you come up with it.
Or get the solar adapter.
Yeah, I get the solar adapter. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's good.
Does that come directly from Bill? Does that come directly from Wise, or can you get it from Amazon? Do you think
It comes from, it's a Wise product, but Amazon is carrying Wise gadgets or Wise products.
Yeah, I noticed that. I just ran across it on an email from Wise because I had bought some other stuff before. They had a really interesting short video on the history of the company. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, those guys started at Amazon. But I'm pretty sure that indoor camera, they have been promoting some of that, their solar adapter with that. So it should be easily found, and it just plugs into the camera body.
Okay, well, I'll take a look for that.
George.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So for temporary outlet outside the things, you can use Ziploc bags as long as it's not in the sunlight, and it doesn't. That's what we're doing. Putting things in Ziploc bags, zipping them up, and making sure they're somewhat sheltered. I agree that PPOE, which is power over Ethernet, is a good solution, but he'd have to have Ethernet cabling going to the location of the camera, and it doesn't really require an electrician because you're talking about low voltage in that case, right? But you still got to drill your holes through your house wall or whatever, and then you have to run the Ethernet back to a hub or wherever your Ethernet network goes. Probably Wi-Fi is a better solution.
Yeah, well,
Another
I
thing-
have one of those mesh networks, which works really good throughout the house and outside.
Is that a Wi-Fi network?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing, George, is interesting, and I don't know if this is my Arlo cameras that I have here. The features on the cameras, such as perimeter sensing and stuff like that, are different if it's on battery versus if it's plugged in, because I guess it has to do with limited power.
Yeah.
And so the features, so it's always better if you can to plug the cameras into a power source, because as I said, the features are different between plugging it in and battery. And that's something that you have to be aware of.
Yeah. Okay.
I have 2 Ring cameras, one in the back and one in the front, that have also lights, and they're battery operated, and they each take 2 batteries, and just every once in a while I've got to swap them out, and I have extra batteries that are always charged. So I swap them out, charge those batteries, and do it with the other outside one.
Yeah.
Works
Well,
well.
I have the Ring doorbell that's hardwired. I wonder if I could run a power
No,
off of that.
No. That's one. No, I have the Ring door. I have a hardwired Ring doorbell, but that's low volt. That's 12-volt electricity going in there. It's not going to work.
Oh, well, okay, back to the drawing boards.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, that idea to continue with your home automation, how do you put these damn things in?
You mean the cameras?
Well, they have all these automation things. I found that, limping along trying to put mine together, that there's an awful lot of questions that come up in actually installing the stuff. Like one thing I found, that if buying the equipment, works better if you buy everything from the same company instead of one from here, one from there, even though they all say they work with Google or Alexis, type of thing. It's
Well, that is true. If you
puzzlement.
get in the same ecosystem, then you only have to deal with one application. But if you use the Google Home app, it integrates a lot of different devices into that application. So you just have the one place to go to control it. And so that's, I think I have a mix now, but of actually Wise products and some Google products. Actually, my speakers are Google, and then I have Wise cameras, and I have another camera that's by Canary, and those all are. I see all those in my Google Home app that I downloaded. And you have a choice when you set it up. It works with Google, or I can't remember what the other.
Alexa.
No, there's in the Google Home app, there's 2 choices when you set it up. Works with Google, or Google's built in. I can't remember what the terminology is, but you just select that and you go down and just link it to the app and you're good. Because I got all my lights are Philips Hue. And so, but they all work from that Google Home app.
I'll have to check it out. It's interesting. I've got 5 different apps from each one of the different appliances, or power strips or plugs that I got. So finding one thing to put them all together is a real challenge.
Well, the Google Home app should help you out because it'll integrate a lot of those devices into that one application, and you'll see them all, and you won't have to be struggling with 2 or 3 different apps.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all my devices.
Yeah, or Miss A.
Yeah, I have Miss A and I have all my devices. We'll talk to it, and I use the Wemo plugs and some kind of off name light bulbs and no problem at all.
Dave Gerber has his hand up.
Dave, go ahead.
Have to unmute Dave.
Sorry about that. This is primarily directed to Bill, but if anybody else can help. I had a Ring video doorbell, the Pro 2, and I had it for years, but it never worked right. It never would keep a good Wi-Fi connection. Now I went out and I bought the Pro 4. I wanted to know if anybody had any experience with the Ring 4 and if it's going to be easier for me as far as setting up the Wi-Fi.
I don't own someone else has to answer that. I have a Nest video doorbell. But it's hardwired, but it's connected to the Wi-Fi and it's outside the door. And I've never had any connectivity problems with it.
Yeah.
Dave, I have the plugged in Ring doorbell. I've had 2 of them. The first one I had lasted about 3 years. Then it I live on the water, so they all eventually succumb to salt water. And anyway, I had no trouble at all with the Wi-Fi connection. And it shouldn't, because your front door should be fairly, I wonder, is it way out in the garage or where is?
The router is not near the front door.
Where is how many floors in your house?
One.
1 floor. Okay. So it should be, is it a huge house or how many feet is the house?
1,600 square feet.
That should easily pick it up. I mean,
Where's your router located?
In my bedroom.
is that at the other, is that the other end of the door, the front door?
The door is in the center of the house and we're, let's say, the far right.
It should be fine. There should be no problem with that. Yeah.
My router is in a bedroom that I use as an office, but it's not really in a close proximity of a router, but I have no trouble with connectivity. I have a mesh router now, but so what you might want to do is put an extender, if it's a problem, put an extender near the front door in an outlet.
Dave, I just give it a try. I don't think you're going to have any trouble. I know you haven't. Have you set it up yet?
No, I haven't even taken it out of the box.
Oh, okay. Let us know next week when you set it up. I don't think you're going to have any trouble. I really don't think you're going to have any trouble.
I don't either. I agree.
I think it's just going to work fine.
All right.
And if you do, I would just get an extender and put it in an outlet near it.
By the way, I had trouble with one of the Ring doorbells, one of the early ones. And I finally broke down and called Ring, the support system. And boy, were they helpful. In fact,
yeah, they're really good.
They're really good. In fact, I had to go to a doctor's appointment and they said they'd call me back when I got back. And they did. It was amazing. It's the first time I've ever seen something like that happen. They're really good.
Oh, it's not Microsoft.
No, this was
All right,
Ring.
thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it works great. Mine, I have no trouble. The software is great. It works great.
Time to get
Good luck,
ready, Ron.
Dave.
Ron, time to get ready.
Yes, thank you. Good. You're practicing for Hewie next week, are you? All right, I'm going to mute everyone. We got to get the show going now. I'll mute everybody and we will get going. Good morning or afternoon or wherever you are. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. This is Tech for Senior. It is our 148th, oh boy, 148th episode. It is, of course, January 30th, soon to be February. So welcome everyone. If you're here in the audience, thank you for coming. If you're over on YouTube, thanks for coming as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube short, we'll just click the link and it'll take you right to the show. We'll be with you for the next hour, and then of course we'll have our Q&A followed by our premiere service I'll discuss in a moment. But this is we have an action-packed show for you today. Lots of really interesting stuff. Bob, of course, is back from his Hawaiian vacation and will be doing his security update for us. He's also going to talk about Windows 11 and the tabbed Notepad. I'm going to talk about alternatives to your credit card. And then Hewie's going to talk about website of the week. Bob's then going to talk about talking to the IRS because tax season is coming up and he wants you to be safe. I'm now going into a bit of a literary stuff, and I've written a poem about Tech for Senior, and I want to share my poem with everybody. And then, of course, Ray will have his music outro. We'll then move on, and we will have our premiere event at 1/2 the hour. Now, those of you who subscribe to our Saturday newsletter, which lists all the events and the agenda for this meeting, will note that that our premiere version this week will be I'll be talking on using your smartphone as a webcam. And I've talked about this before. You want to make darn sure you don't give away your smartphone because it's a great webcam. And I'll tell you all about how to set it up and use it as a webcam instead of if you need an extra one. Ray's going to talk about Windows 10 tips, and Bob's going to talk about how to stop those annoying spam text messages. So that will all be on our premiere video that will be shown at 1/2 the hour, and I'll be putting the link in the show notes. And also those of you who, of course, subscribe to the newsletter, and again, you should, if you haven't, our Saturday newsletter, my favorite YouTube channel that we feature different channels was an interesting one. It was called The Fabulously Frugal, and I've been watching her for many years now. I love my air fryer, and I use it all the time. And this is a girl who has a family of 8 kids. 8 kids, my gosh. And she loves her air fryer, and her channel is called The Fabulously Frugal, and she does weekly air fryer tips. She's written a number of books. She has a huge channel. Her recipes are great, and she does a lot of them just for 2. So it's great for seniors because there's just Gail and I for cooking, and so pop it in the air fryer and we have dinner for 2. And that was on our Saturday newsletter. Each week I put out a channel that's of interest that I think you might be interested in. And I put on there not only how you find the channel, but also one of my favorite videos that they make. So this week was on cooking. Another change that I've made on our Tuesday newsletter, and by the way, if you sign up for our newsletter, you get both. You get 2 for 1, and it's all free. So on our Tuesday newsletter, I'm putting the agenda for our Thursday show, what we're going to talk about. So if you have some interest in that, you may want to watch our Thursday show, which of course is not a Zoom meeting. I know you're all thinking, where the heck do I find this? But it's not a Zoom meeting. We broadcast that out on StreamYard, and it goes out to our Facebook page and our and YouTube. So again, we have the usual gang that all come on Thursday. We have a great talk, and we actually talk about news of the week, all the stuff that's happened in the prior week. And we have all our newspaper reports or news issues that we want to talk about are posted to our Facebook page. And so we have a great time doing that and a lot of fun. And that is every Thursday. And you'll find the links on our webpage if you'd like to join. Again, it's free. There's no charge. And come and have some fun. And we also podcast that out. And the podcast is up on Friday. Hewie and I had a great learning Chromebooks last Thursday, right, Hewie?
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And I talked about the Flex and how to use it. And you say it's useless. And I think it's a pretty good thing for some people. So,
all right. Well, we actually got some comments back on that already. I don't know if you saw the Andrew commented on the YouTube channel a couple about that. So there's some interesting stuff there. You might want to have a look at that. We do that, of course, once a month. It's free. And if you want to register for the Learning Chromebook series, just go to our webpage and you can certainly register for that. I want to thank everyone for our funding drive. This is our funding drive was in January. This is, of course, the last time I'll be mentioning our funding, and I might sort of sneak it in a little bit through the year. But by and large, we have met our goals mostly. I expect that there'll be continued funding coming in, so we will be able to pay the bills. I want to thank everybody. Particularly, I want to thank the following people who donated last week: Charles Harchin, Marshall Dubois, Nan Place, Susan Schmidt, and there was another Susan. I'm not sure if that was the same Susan Schmidt or if there was a different Susan in there. So I want to thank everybody who participated and helped us pay the bills. I will put the link in the chat for our coffee fund. If you today want to donate, we're happy to do that for you. And that really it's great. We've done this now for, I guess this will be our 4th year coming up, and everyone's great. Now we don't have to mention it for the rest of the year. We can just have fun, and we don't have to talk about money, which I think is a great thing to do. Hewie, are you all ready for next week? Hewie is going to be taking the reins of the show next Monday. I'll be here, of course, but I'm going to be sitting in the background, letting Hewie do his thing. I know I have complete confidence in them. Hewie, of course, has done this a lot. He's probably done more shows than I have. So I know you'll give him lots of support. I'll be doing this. I'll be with him for the next 3 or 4 times, but I do want to take some time off this summer in July, and he's going to be doing the show then. So this is a bit of training, but he doesn't need any training because he's a real smart guy. Are you ready?
I hope I feel better by then too. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a cold. Yeah. You got
I open the window in influenza.
And then, of course, Bob, you're back. You're producing videos like crazy. You're back at home, but you never really stopped on the ship.
Nope.
You just kept going.
Nope. I was simply amazed because, as I mentioned, internet access aboard ship, it was a challenge. But I had no problems joining Zoom, and I had no problems producing videos. Uploading them was a different story.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting when they get Starlink. Eh? You said the ship's signing up for Starlink?
Yes, they have already made a deal with Starlink. So the next time I'm on that cruise line, the internet should be a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And then, Bill, what's new with you? You got any travel plans? Are you just hanging in there, or what's happening with?
Oh, I have no travel plans. I'm just hanging in there for now.
Okay. All
Wait
right.
till it gets warmer.
Ray, are you still shoveling snow?
You know, our snow pattern this year has been quite different than in the past. In the past, we may get 2 or maybe 3 big storms by big 6 to 10 or 12 inches at a time. This year, every other day or every third day, we get just a little bit of cover. So no shoveling, but it's not been warm. Normally the days are in the 50s. Here they've been much cooler, so I have a lot of ice. So, looking forward to the spring.
There you go. And Mike, of course, is sitting there smiling as he's in Florida, capturing the rays of the sun and making money. Ray, of course, Mike will be talking this month or in February. I think it's February 20th. We'll be talking about the next version of our EV car series, and I'm looking forward to that, Mike.
We'll be focusing the second part on EV batteries, alternatives to lithium-ion batteries.
That'll be great. We look forward to that. So just to let everyone know, Hewie will be next week, and the following week after that will be the whole show will be dedicated to password managers and what options you have and which ones you should use. And then following that will be Mike's, the next week will be Mike's EV talk. So we have a busy February for you, and then I guess what is it, March, Hewie, we go into season 4, right?
Yep.
Season 4, 4 years. Okay.
Yeah, the first March we thought about it.
Yeah.
It'll last a couple of months at the most, and then we'll see what we'll do. And here we are.
Right, and that's part of why Huey's we decided to alternate the hosting, because we do have to take some time off and maybe do a little bit of traveling and so on and so forth. So we want to keep the show going and continue with the weekly show. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I believe I should be ready to roll.
You haven't forgotten how to do this, have you?
I hope not. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending January 27th, 2023. LastPass parent company Go2 suffers data breach. Customers' backups compromised. LastPass owner Go2, formerly known as LogMeIn, on Tuesday disclosed that unidentified threat actors were able to steal encrypted backups of some customers' data, along with an encryption key for some of those backups in a November 2022 incident. The breach, which targeted a third-party cloud storage service, impacted Central, Pro, JoinMe, Hamachi, and Remotely Anywhere products, the company said. Read more at the Hacker News. U.S. federal agencies fall victim to cyber attack utilizing legitimate RMM software. At least 2 federal agencies in the U.S. fell victim to a widespread cyber campaign that involved the use of legitimate remote monitoring and management software to perpetuate a phishing scam. Specifically, cyber criminal actors sent phishing emails that led to the download of legitimate RMM software, Screen Connect, now Connect Wise Control, and AnyDesk, which the actor used in a refund scam to steal money from victim bank accounts, U.S. cybersecurity authorities said. The joint advisory comes from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, National Security Agency, and Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. The attacks, which took place in mid-June and mid-September 2022, have financial motivations, although the threat actors could weaponize the unauthorized access for conducting a wide range of activities, including selling that access to other hacking crews. Read more at the Hacker News. Microsoft Silent Update checks your Windows PC for old versions of Office. Microsoft is running an update on Windows PCs that will silently check for old copies of Office. As the Register reports, details of the update were revealed on the Microsoft support website earlier this month. Update KB 5021751 opens in a new window, is described as intended to help Microsoft identify the number of users running out of support or soon to be out of support versions of Office, including Office 2013, Office 2010, and Office 2007. No details is given as to why Microsoft decided to perform this check. Read more at PC Mag. Google is screwed even if it wins its antitrust case. In 1982, the Department of Justice wrapped up a 13-year antitrust case against IBM. The DOJ lost, but so did IBM. The tech landscape changed and IBM was distracted and had to move slowly under the increased scrutiny. Microsoft and Apple swooped in and knocked IBM off its perch. 20 years later, the same thing happened to Microsoft. The DOJ launched an antitrust investigation, and ultimately, Microsoft wasn't broken up, but Apple, Google, and social media companies like Facebook left Microsoft in the dust. Now it seems like it's Google's turn. See Gizmodo for more. DARPA wants AR goggles to help soldiers with complex tasks. DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, is developing a new system to help military personnel perform complex tasks. Perceptually enabled task guidance technology uses sensors to see and hear what the user sees and hears, guiding them through AI-produced instructions displayed in augmented reality. PTG combines sensors, a microphone and head-mounted camera with AI and AR headsets to integrate into the user's environment. The idea is to help soldiers and other military personnel enhance their skills, complete complicated tasks, and perform them better. See Engadget for more. Google takes down 50,000 instances of pro-Chinese Dragon Bridge influence operation. Google on Thursday disclosed it took steps to dismantle over 50,000 instances of activity orchestrated by a pro-Chinese influence operation known as Dragon Bridge in 2022. Most Dragon Bridge activity is low-quality content without a political message, populated across many channels and blogs. The company's threat analysis group said in a report shared with the Hacker News. However, a small fraction of Dragon Bridge accounts also post about current events with messaging that pushes pro-China talking points. See the Hacker News for more. Windows 11 22H2 is ready for everyone now. Microsoft released Windows 11 22H2 in September of 2022, marking the first major update to Windows 11 since its arrival the year prior. 4 months later, Microsoft thinks it has worked out all the major bugs. Microsoft has started automatically rolling out Windows 11 22H2 to computers running 21H2. Which was previously only available as a manual update. The company said in its health dashboard, since Windows 10, we have been helping Windows users stay up to date and secure with supported versions of Windows through automatic updates. We are utilizing the same approach for Windows 11 to help you stay protected and productive. Some people have reported seeing the update notifications on Windows 10 too. To learn more, see How to Geek. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Read Avast's article on Small but Dangerous, What Are the Risks of Malicious USBs? Read the article on the Avast blog, or you may enjoy my video on this topic. Just follow my YouTube link listed. Did you know a Google spin-off is using AI to try to create brand new smells? Before Nokia sold mobile phones, they manufactured a range of other items, such as toilet paper, tires, and computers. Spam email was named after the canned meat. In a Monty Python skit, they said spam meat was horrible and being ubiquitous and inescapable. Just like spam emails. Just thought you wanted to know. And that wraps up this week's edition of the Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Notepad, the old way and the new way. In the old way, when you opened Notepad, you had to open up a separate notepad for each item. Microsoft is changing that and making it a lot easier. Let me show you what you'll soon have available to you for Notepad. As I said, this is the old way. Each notepad is a separate notepad opened in its own window. The new way works differently. I have several items that I have pinned to the taskbar in Notepad. In the old version, each time I selected one, it would open a new window. Now, with the new tabbed Notepad, when I open one, it opens Notepad. If I go down now and select the next one, it opens it up, as you can see, in a separate tab. Let me do the third one and a fourth one. As you can see, I now have 4 separate tabs available, and I can switch from one to the other. I don't have to open up separate windows, and I can access and interact right from one window, and I have all of them open to me. Great idea. That will be coming to all versions of Windows 11 soon. Until then, envy those of us that are doing the beta testing of the new things as they get ready to be released. Stay safe, stay secure. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. So that'll come in with an update to Windows then. It'll be updated when Windows is updated.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. That's great. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good. All right. So today we're going to talk a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit of alternatives to credit cards. This is a passion that I've talked a lot about this when I was in Mesa. So anyway, let's see what we have here. Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, safe alternatives to a credit card. Let's see what this is all about. There are 5 potential issues seniors may face while using credit cards. The first is scams and fraud. Seniors may be more susceptible to scams and fraud, particularly if they are not familiar with technology or the internet. The second is difficulty managing finances. Some seniors may have difficulty managing their finances, which could lead to overspending and falling into debt. The third reason is higher risk of identity theft. Seniors may be at a higher risk of identity theft due to their personal information being more easily accessible. And the fourth reason is limited income. Some seniors may have limited income, which could make it difficult for them to make repayment to credit cards. And the fifth and last is difficulty understanding credit card terms and conditions. Seniors may have more difficulty understanding the terms and conditions of credit cards, which could lead to confusion and mistakes. To help protect older adults in these issues, it is recommended that they keep their personal information safe, monitor their credit reports on a regular basis, and be cautious of unsolicited offers for requests of personal information. It is also important for older adults to have a clear understanding of credit card terms and conditions before applying and using a credit card. Because we live in a cashless society, seniors often resort to debit cards. This can lead to disastrous consequences with fraud and theft. Let me explain the difference between a debit card and a credit card. Because we really live in a cashless society, the banks have created what we call a debit card. This allows you access to your own money in the bank. You can get it through an electronic transaction. Therefore, it is your money you're using at the grocery store. So if Mr. Smith goes to the grocery store, he puts his debit card down and buys $200 worth of groceries, the amount in his bank now is zero. If he goes to buy $250 worth of groceries, he can't do that because he doesn't have $250 in his account. So it is a cash transaction that occurs from your bank to the grocery store, but it's cashless. And because of this, there is no fee to debit cards, there is no contract you sign with the bank, and the debit cards are available to anyone, even if they have a horrible credit history and a very poor financial situation. Anyone can get a debit card because it simply offers you access to the money that you have in your existing account. Now, we'll talk about credit cards in a moment, but we should now discuss the appropriate use of a debit card because this is a very important issue. Because the debit card is essentially giving cash out of your account, it's a cash transaction, there is no protection for you. It's just like if you were walking down the street and someone stole your wallet with $200 in it, then you wouldn't have $200 anymore. So there's no protection. If someone steals your PIN number or your debit card number, they are simply going to empty your bank account out of your cash. And the bank is not going to compensate you for that. First, you should not use them to purchase gas. Gas skimming machines that are put on credit card devices on the gas dispensing machines are highly vulnerable to fraud. A recent report this week showed that investigators are seeing more credit card skimmers. They can steal your banking information, credit or debit card numbers. Thieves plant all sorts of credit card skimmers, including businesses, gas stations, and in grocery stores. Recent reports showed UPS workers arrested in a $1.3 million credit card fraud and identity scheme involving skimming. Costco found 5 credit card skimmers in the Chicago area warehouses. Skimmers have been around for a long time, but thieves are getting smarter. In the old days, these machines were often very recognizable. In other words, they fit on top of a regular credit card machine, and they look exactly the same. You couldn't tell the difference. So they can be put on outside ATM terminals that your bank has. They can be put in Costco warehouses. The important thing to know, they are almost impossible to detect. So you need to be protected. And protection doesn't come by using your debit card because there is no protection with a debit card. If you are going to use this for a gas station purchase, go inside the store where there is control over the ATM machine and pay for it with a clerk at the desk. You should not use your debit card for any internet purchases. Keep it completely away from the internet and any online transaction. I'll talk about something better to use in a moment, but keep it away from the internet. There's a high degree of fraud, and you don't want your number compromised because remember, it's cash out of your account and you're not going to get it back. So be very careful with that. Likewise, you should not use your debit card for purchases for travel. Remember, it's like prepaying with cash. Once you pay that out, you have no recourse to get it back again. So if you buy a cruise and the cruise ship goes under, not sinking, I mean, but if they go bankrupt, then you're not going to get your money back. If you're traveling around the world and the airline company goes bankrupt, and this has happened a lot in the last few years, then you'll be stuck in some foreign country that you have to try and return yourself. So please don't use your debit card for any travel arrangements. Consider it a cash transaction. If you aren't comfortable with paying with cash, don't use your debit card. Senior citizens may be at higher risk of falling into debt due to a fixed income, decreased earning potential, and increased medical expenses. Additionally, some may be taken advantage of by predatory lending practices or may even not fully understand the terms and fees associated with credit card use. It is important for seniors to manage their finances carefully and seek assistance if they are struggling with debt. This week, the National Council on Aging published a report. There is a retirement crisis for millions of older adults because of growing credit card debt. Thanks to soaring inflation and mounting costs of food, housing, utilities, and more, retirees now outspend their annual income by more than $4,000 and are compensating with that for credit card debt. With few options to bridge the gap, many older adults have little choice but to use their credit cards to finance this debt. In fact, Forbes recently reported that 41% of households headed by someone between the ages of 65 and 74 carry credit card debt, up from 27% in 1989. So it's important for you to remember that unlike a debit card where you're using your own money, with a credit card, you are using someone else's money. In other words, you're using credit. Because of that, you have to sign a contract with a company. In other words, you're going to be signing on the dotted line to agree to the terms of that contract. Now, most people who sign that form don't actually read the contract, but it usually is 30, 40 pages long. Out of all those pages in the contract, they all are in favor of the credit card company. You would not believe all the terms and conditions that we agree to. But there is one paragraph in all those contracts that works in your favor, and that is fraud protection. And that is the key issue between using a credit card and a debit card. Using a credit card, you are protected against fraud, and that is a big feature. And that's why for online secure transactions, a credit card is the preferred method. But I'm going to show you something that works just as well, and you won't have to get a credit card. Let me explain how this works. So if you do not have a credit card and you're worried about using your debit card as for an online transaction, let me talk about two alternatives for you. The first is a prepaid card. You can purchase these at any grocery store, usually gas station, or in Canada we have them as well. These are called prepaid cards, and they're made either by Visa or MasterCard. You can pick these up usually right at the till when you're checking out buying your groceries. So what are these cards? Well, these are prepaid cards that you can purchase. Now, the cost of these cards varies from $2 to usually they're under $10. And that's the administrative fee of setting the cards up. And then when you check out, the teller will ask you, how much do you want to put on the card? And there you can take your debit card and you do a transaction from your debit card and it loads the prepaid card. So there is no link between the prepaid card and your debit card. In fact, there's no identifier on these cards. These cards have no names or any identifier to your personal information. So you then take this home and you can use this now wherever credit cards are used. So remember, if you put $200 on the card, that's all you have. Now, when you go back next week to buy more groceries, if you have more shopping to do, add further $200 or $300 onto the card, no cost to that. So there is a cost initially to purchase the card, which is the administrative setup fee. Now, there's one other fee associated with these cards, is there is a monthly charge of usually 2% of the balance on the card. So this is not a lot of money if you're going to use the card on a short-term basis, which I would recommend. These cards are not meant for you to load a bunch of money on and leave them for 2 or 3 years, because that 2% each month is going to chew away at the balance. But if in October, if you're looking at buying some Christmas gifts and things like that, then you can simply purchase the card, load it up each time you go grocery shopping, and then do some online purchases with total protection. There's no link between any information on that card. In fact, the MasterCard or Visa, whoever sponsors the card, has no idea who you are. It's a cash transaction to load that at the till when you're checking out from the grocery store. The second card that is a great card that I've used for many years is the Amazon gift cards. So who doesn't shop at Amazon? The Amazon gift cards are a great way to do online shopping. Again, you purchase these in the grocery store usually, and you can take them to the till when you're checking out, and you'll just, you could pay for them with a credit card if you want, but you could use a debit card as well. And then you take your gift card home with you, and it acts just like a credit card, but it only works with Amazon. There's no fees to purchase it, and there are no monthly fees. So it's you can just take the card and apply it onto your Amazon account. This is a very secure way of doing online transactions on Amazon. And again, there's no identifying number that relates you to your debit card or any personal information. Just two options that you have if you're worried about using your debit card for online transactions. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, alternatives to a credit card. Hopefully this video will help you stay safe when doing your internet purchases. We'd sure appreciate the like and subscribe, and until we see you again, have a great day. All right, there might be some questions about that, and we'll certainly answer those in the Q&A. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
Yes, and if the more I talk, the more likely it is that I'm going to cough. So I will try to limit my speaking, but hang on 1 second here. You just have to find the right video. And full screen it.
Tech for Seniors present the website of the week with Hewie Poplock.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Website of the week number 17. I'm Hewie Poplock. Squoosh, the ultimate image compression tool. If you snap photos with your phone, the photos are usually a very large file. A 12 megapixel camera will produce a 3.6 megabyte file. A 22 megapixel picture will produce a 6.6 megabyte file. Next time you need to compress an image, you don't have to open an image editor and do it yourself. Instead, try Squoosh, which offers a simple web interface for reducing the size of images. This is Squoosh. It is an app, so all of the processing is done on your computer, not in the cloud. Let's take a look. They have some samples here that you can use, but we're going to use a picture that I took. Here's how they explain what it is. Smaller images mean faster load times. Squoosh can reduce the file size and maintain a high quality. For instance, they can reduce a 1.4 megabyte picture to 80K. It's simple. You open your image, inspect the differences, and then save instantly. Feeling adventurous? Adjust the settings for even smaller files. And secure? Worried about privacy? Images never leave your device, and Squoosh does all the work locally. And that's it for their website. So let's take a look at a picture, and let's just slide it on here. This is a 6.22 megabyte picture. You're seeing the actual picture on the left, and on the right is whatever setting we have. So right now we have it we can resize it. So let's resize it, and let's resize it down to 25% of what it is now. Because right now what it is approximately 4,000 by 3,000. So now we're going to get it down to 1,100 by 864. That's going to reduce it by 98%. And let's go ahead and click the arrow here. And it just downloaded the file. Now let's take a look, the difference between the file, the original, and the new file. But let's really look at the picture by opening it. And there it is. So that's the new picture, reduced. It's down to 1152 by 864. It's only 120K. And the original picture, let's open it, is 4,600 by 3,456. And it is 5.93 megabytes. So if we make these side by side, so you can see down here the size is 1152 by 864. Down here is 4608 by 3456. This one is almost 6 megabytes, and this one is 120K. When you look at them both side by side, there's not a whole bunch of difference. Nice and clear and usable. Very quick, very easy. So let's do that one more time so you get the idea. You just drop the image onto the interface and it opens up the editor. We'll do this and we open it. You'll notice that it's a huge picture. And so what we need to do is adjust it on the screen so the whole thing fits. There is the original picture. Let's move it up one more. There we go. That's the original picture. Now what we want to do is we want to edit it by resizing it. Let's go ahead and change this to 25%. Make it 1152 by 864. It's currently a little over 4,000 by 3,000. We're going to go ahead and compress it by just clicking the button here to download it at the same time. It's now downloaded, and if we move this back and forth, it's slightly different, but not a whole bunch. So you can see the two pictures side by side, and when we open up the reduced picture, it's now 1152 by 864, nice and clear, good picture, and we're ready to use it. So there's a menu on each side. You saw this one. And let you choose the form of compression on the image along with additional options depending upon your choice. The split editing setup allows you to leave the left side as the original, and while you make the changes on the right side as you work, your changes will update and you can drag the middle line to preview how the image will work. So as we move it across, we can see it's just a little bit out of focus compared to the nice crisp of the original, but it's pretty good. The site will also show you the new size of your image as you make edits, plus the percentage change in size from the original. It's a sleek and useful place to downsize images without extra software. So we can change this as we want. So let's say we want it 50% by 2300 by 1700. And we can take a look. It's a little clearer. And we can change things over here if we wanted to. But this is 6.26 megabytes. And over here, we're at 95% of the original, 317K, because we increased the size from 25 to 50. There's an install button. If you click the install button, you can install an app that runs within your browser. It's not going to install a program, it's going to install it with the browser, and you're able to do this directly from your browser. So it's just another choice, but I prefer it just to do it using the online screen. Squish! This has been Website of the Week number 17. I'm Hewie Poplock. Squish, the ultimate image compression tool.
Good find, Hewie. That's a great, that's cool. That's a good find. Yeah, I bookmarked it in my my utilities folder. That's a good one. Yeah, excellent. Thanks. That'll work well. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I am. If you're ready to receive what's coming,
I'm in the receiving mode.
The tax season is almost upon us. Remember that the IRS won't text you and some other tax scams to avoid. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to unlawful scammers. And while it's a year-round problem, we see a lot during the holidays, and then it peaks around tax season. Know all the warning signs and tricks used by hackers so you have a safe tax season. No one wants to deal with the Internal Revenue Service, but don't let that fear get you into trouble with scammers. Here are a few of the most common IRS tax scams. Tips to help you spot one and more details to help you stay safe. My thanks to Corey Gunther of Review Geek for his article and the inspiration for this video. Please read his article at the link listed. As always, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and get involved. As stated, the IRS won't text you. One of the most common scams is an IRS text message. Text scams are an ongoing problem that comes in various forms. And while the IRS has an exhaustive list of scams and fraud to avoid, texts are a big one. The text message mentioning tax and the IRS is a scam. These are known as smishing or phishing scams, where criminals send a text and try to get you to click on a link or divulge important personal information. If you get an IRS text message, do not click any links, call any phone numbers, and never share personal or financial information. I recommend instantly blocking the number, although that rarely helps these days. I would also recommend deleting that text. Let's take a closer look at how the IRS will contact you. Almost all contact with taxpayers goes through the regular U.S. Postal Service mail delivery system. You'll get a letter, not a text or a call. It's worth noting that while most IRS contact is through the mail, there are some instances where they'll call you, come to your home, or visit a business. These situations are rare and typically happen when you have a largely overdue tax bill, or a delinquent tax return, or unfilled returns, or delinquent employment payments. Occasionally, the IRS will visit a business during an audit or investigation. However, it's important to note that in almost every scenario, you'll get a letter in the mail first. You should always be careful with calls, emails, and more. More people are hesitant when it comes to shady tax messages, which is why scammers are starting to get more sophisticated. They'll try phone calls and emails, or even create a fake website that looks just like the IRS government website to trick victims. Now that you know how the IRS will contact you, pay attention to other methods. If you're getting phone calls or emails, threatening or not, they're likely a scam. This is especially true if you've yet to receive anything in the mail. The IRS will issue countless letters first before ever resorting to phone calls. And while it sounds harsh, use some common sense. Many scammers will claim to work for the IRS and say you owe back taxes, misfiled, or have a balance and owe a penalty fee. While this happens, you'll get notified by mail. If you do get a phone call from someone claiming to work for the IRS and wants you to pay in gift cards, that should be an obvious red flag. What is the government going to do with a gift card? Nothing. That's a scam. Stay away from IRS phone calls, emails, voicemails, reaching out on social media, or anyone asking for financial information over the phone. You should never give out your debit card, credit card, or banking details. The IRS won't ask for it on the phone either. Even if you're getting threatening calls or voicemails saying you'll go to jail, lose your driver's license, or lose your home, the IRS must follow the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, allowing you to appeal the case. You'll never randomly get a threatening phone call or text. You'll also want to be mindful of tax charity phone calls, where someone claims if you donate to a good cause, it'll be a write-off. These do exist, but random calls about them are a red flag. Last but not least, if you've already fallen victim to a scam, you'll likely be a target for recovery scams, where someone claims they can help. If you've been scammed, reach out to a physical business where you live and don't deal with a stranger over the phone. And here's how you should report IRS scams. In the unfortunate event that you get scammed, or even if you didn't fall for it, you should report all IRS scams to the proper channels. There are several ways to do this, depending on the situation. For one, report all tax scams to the IRS and file a complaint with the FTC. You can forward emails or send suspicious phone numbers to an IRS email, which is phishing@irs.gov. And while most text and call scams spoof numbers, it's still worth submitting them to the proper authorities. Then submit information to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration on its website, or by calling TGTA at 1-800-366-4484. This tutorial only touches on a few of the many different situations, scams, and fraud that takes place these days. Thankfully, the IRS puts together a dirty dozen report on tax scams each year, and you can learn more from those reports at the link listed. Use caution and common sense above all. If you use a tax preparer and he or she refuses to sign the tax return, grab your tax papers and find a reputable preparer. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, thanks, Bob. That hopefully people will be safe in tax time.
Yep, it's that time of year again. So
It is
look
indeed.
out.
It is indeed. Well, Ray, I know that you have a musical streak in you and you are great with music, but I have another side of me, and it's my poetic side, right?
I can't
And-
wait to hear it.
Yeah. So, so here's my little foray into my writing a poem, and so I want to share this with everybody today. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This past couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about Chat GPT, the new artificial intelligence. So I thought it would be fun today to write a poem about Tech for Senior. Yeah, let's write a poem. But I'm not very good at poems, so I'm going to get Chat GPT to write a poem about Tech for Senior. So let's have some fun with this, and let's see how it turns out. All right, I've asked Chat GPT to write a poem about the Tech for Senior organization that provides information to seniors. Ron and Hewie are co-founders. Bob is a security expert. Ray is our music director. Bill is the gadget guy. We meet once a week with a Zoom meeting on Monday morning. Let's see what Chat GPT writes. All right, here we are in Chat GPT. We're going to start a new chat. So I'm going to paste the information that I had in the Word document about our poem in Chat GPT, and I'm going to paste this now. And let's see what it comes up with. All right, here's our poem. Tech for Senior, a noble cause. Ron and Hewie, its founders without pause. Bob, the security expert, keeps us safe. Ray, our music director, sets the pace. Bill, the gadget guy, always on the go. For seniors, he's a lifesaver, don't you know? Once a week we meet on Zoom. Monday mornings our time in the virtual room. Sharing knowledge, helping each other out. Tech for Senior, we're here no doubt. A community of seniors, tech savvy and strong. Together we'll navigate the digital world all along. Wasn't that a lot of fun? It's amazing what ChatGPT can do. Have some fun with this and send some people some poems. It's amazing what it will do, and it is hilarious. You can ask for a funny poem, a sad poem, whatever type of poem you want. It'll make up a poem for you. Send someone a poem. Let's have some fun with this. Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors.
Ron, all I can say is you're a poet and you don't even know it.
There you go. There you go. Listen, Ray, just before you start, I just want to say goodbye to our friends over on YouTube. Thank you for coming. If you want to pop over into our Zoom meeting, we have room for you and you can participate in the Q&A. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Don't forget our Thursday show. Ray, take it away and I'll stop the live feed.